Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the YesSHECan project. I am delighted today to be joined by the gorgeous Andrea. Hi, Andrea.
Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Coming to you from not so sunny North Warwickshire, from my home studio.
Bless you. So people who can see this on YouTube will be able to see the beautiful dresses in your studio in the background.
Yes.
So if for anybody who doesn't know, could you give us a brief introduction into who you are and what you do?
So my name is Andrea De Gabriel, or Andrea De Gabriel. It's entirely up to you how you pronounce it. Andrea, I think just keeping it to Andrea is much easier. And I'm the heart and mind behind Andrea De Gabriel Portraits. I have been in business since 2003, and I specialize in women portraiture. My aim has always been to empower my clients, to help them on a journey to a more positive view of themselves. And I am very happy to say that I have achieved that aim. And I continue to do so one client at a time. So yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a great introduction. I like that. So Andrea, can you talk me through your kind of journey into photography? Can you remember like a particular light bulb moment for you when you kind of just knew that it was your path, or did you fall into it unexpectedly?
So, I mean, there's a whole story behind this, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, Michelle. You know, I could talk and talk and talk. But so back in 2002, back end of 2002, I worked in an office job. It was a nice job. It's a good job.
Okay.
And I was told by one of my colleagues that a young man who we used to do overtime with in a different department had died suddenly of a heart attack. He was very young. He had a young wife and a baby, and he was totally unexpected. At that point, I sat down and I thought, this could happen to me. You know, my mother died at the age of 50 of a massive heart attack.
Oh, bless.
And the mortality, the whole thing just really hit me suddenly. How we are here one moment and the next moment we might not be anymore. It's that quickly, it's that easy. Something I already knew, of course, I said, from what happened to my own mother. And at that moment, something hit me. What have I done? If this happened to me today, what have I done? What am I leaving behind of value for other people, not just for myself, but what am I leaving for other people? So I took some time off, and I considered all my options, and by a series of coincidences, I came to a prospectus, a college prospectus, and I literally said a very short prayer. And I opened it and I said, wherever my finger lands, I'm going to do this. This is what is going to change my life.
No way.
Oh yes way. This sounds crazy, right? And I mean, no sane person would do such a thing. But I am fairly sane, regardless of the appearance of my hair. I am fairly sane. And I just went, and my finger landed on photography, which I thought was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. I thought, no way. I never done photography, even as a hobby. I had no interest in the subject.
Oh my God, I can't believe this. This is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't even have a camera, actually. I had to borrow a camera from a friend for the course, because the course required an SLR camera, which is, if you like, not your average, it had to be a single lens reflex camera.
And is that what that stands for?
Yeah, single lens.
Okay, so what's a DSLR?
Digital.
Oh, there we go. See, learn something new every day.
Anytime. So anyway, I borrowed the camera from a friend, and I went off to. I had a day job in those days, so it was an evening course. It was a City and Guilds course, and I went off. And my first evening, I was sitting in my car. In those days, I smoked. I know, shame of shames. And I was sitting in my car having a cigarette, thinking, "Why am I here? What am I doing? This is crazy. This is crazy. I have no interest in this whatsoever. I should be at home watching TV. And I thought, I'll go in. What do I have to lose? You know,
Yeah.
It's not a very long course, and I would just not come back tomorrow if it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in, I sat down. I'll never forget. I can see the setup of the classroom. It wasn't a porta cabin because they were doing stuff to the main building, and it was outside. So I sat down, huge table. People started to come in, sat around me, and the teacher came in, and he did a slideshow of various photographers. And there was one image, a very low-key image, it was very dark, which made such an impression on me that I remember thinking, I can do that. I understand that. I understand how that is done.
Mm-hmm.
Instinctively, I can do this. And I started paying attention.
Right.
And by the end of the first evening, I was hooked.
Oh my God.
I knew I wanted to do photography. I had no idea how it was going to help me fulfill my aim of helping people, but I wanted to do that course. So I did. I passed my boards and I had my certificate. In June 2003, I set up my business officially, sort of, after having photographed many reluctant friends, work colleagues, you know.
Reluctant.
I was giving prints away, come and sit in front, and people were loving what I was doing. And this was the real surprising thing. I had no idea if I had what they call an eye for photography, or photographing people. You know, all photographers have particular genres they specialize in, and I didn't know whether people photography would be something I could do. Turns out,
I was going to say, what pushed you towards like portrait people photography as opposed to, you know, landscape or products?
Well, I have tried most genres of photography.
Okay.
But I started with people photography because I was always intrigued by expressions. I always like close-up photos.
Yeah.
Always intrigued by I love the old masters, you know, paintings and the way they captured light. And that was one thing I wanted to be my trademark, was the light.
Okay. Yeah.
And how, you know, creative, inventive lighting. So, and I like people. I've always been a people person. I've always liked the company of others. And so I thought, okay, people photography is what I want. At least it's what I wanted to start with. I don't know if I'd be successful. Turns out, people really loved what I did. And so I set up my business, and I had my first client. It was a lady, a young woman. I never asked her age, but if I had to guess, I'd say she was in the mid to late 20s. And she came over. Well, photo shoots in those days were very different from what they are now, from what I offer now. There was no studio. I set up my studio in my front room, like so many of us do. You know, there was a sheet for backdrop. You know, I had a second-hand flash head. It was all very makeshift at that point because, you know, I was still really learning, and my fees reflected the fact that I was a starter. So people were mainly paying me for the prints, very little, just really my time. And I photographed her, and there was no makeup. She did her own makeup, she did her own hair, she put her own clothes. I photographed her. I thought it was really enjoyable photo shoot. And when she came over, I used to have this big projection screen. I projected the photos on it. She just sat there. Honestly, Michelle, I nearly died. She didn't say a word. There was not a peep coming out of her lips. I thought, oh my God, my first client, and I've already failed. I'm going to shut down shop.
Oh gosh.
Forget about all of this, you know.
Finish before you'd even started.
No, I'm rubbish. I should be photographing nothing. Anyway, we got to the end of the projection, and she turned around and she ordered a boatload of prints. And I went, oh, how weird is that? So did she hate the photos, or she was so stunned by the beauty of the photos that she lost her ability to speak? I really didn't know what was going on. All of this was going on in my head. Of course, I didn't say any of those things. I just said, okay, thank you, and I will order your prints, come back to collect them in a week or so. In those days, it was still film, still had to be sent to the lab to be printed. and come back.
Gosh, those were the days, weren't they?
So yes, I actually, it was just about when digital was coming in when I started photography. So anyway, so I got her prints, they were beautiful. She came back and she sat down with me. We sat down for a cup of coffee. I handed over a print. She looked very emotional. And I said, are you okay? She said, yes, I am, but I wanted to thank you. And I said, why? She said, well, before I came here, before I saw my photos, I had such a low opinion of myself. I hated myself. I hated the way I looked. I felt worthless. You know, I just didn't like myself at all. I lost touch with my family. So everything she was saying to me was about how her self-image was so poor that she really just lost touch with her family, her father. She was self-isolating, basically. She was isolating herself from the world because she couldn't cope with her own,
with how she felt.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her.
And yet, after that photo shoot and after seeing the photos, and I think this is why she was speechless throughout the viewing, that one experience changed her mind about herself completely.
Yeah.
And she said, I am so confident now that I've even got in touch with my dad and I'm meeting him in a few days. And I need to thank you because this is all because of you, because of what you did. And I sat there and I thought, okay, I could feel myself welling up.
Yeah.
I hung in there until she left. And after she left, I just collapsed in a heap of tears of
joy.
Of joy, of relief, of understanding, because, you know, I had asked, I'm a person of faith, and I'm a spiritual person in many ways. I have beliefs, which I won't talk about because I don't want to impose them on anyone else. But, you know, I had asked for an answer.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? How am I going to help someone? How am I going to help anyone by being a photographer? And that answer was handed to me, my first client.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
to me, it was a signposting. It was, you know, it was like, yes, you're in the right path, you're in the right direction. So to go from, why am I doing this? I can always not come back to this class tomorrow.
Yeah.
From literally just open a prospectus and pointing a finger, that could have landed on pottery and we'd be sitting here talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly, yeah.
But for someone,
sorry. I was just going to say, with you saying about the fact that she felt completely different, that echoes a lot in when I've been reading a lot of your testimonials, Andrea. Everybody is saying how they come away from their sessions, and it wouldn't be inaccurate to say that you are changing women's lives, you're changing their beliefs, and you're changing the way that they feel about themselves, just as you did with your very first client. How does that feel as a human being to know that you've been instrumental in making somebody feel that way? Well, the first word that comes to my mind is humbling. It's humbling that I can do this. You know, I'm not, I tend to really not brag about anything, simply because I have a lot of confidence, and I think that if you have confidence in what you do, you don't need to brag. It speaks for itself. My clients really make me feel really humble when they tell me how I've changed their lives. And all I keep thinking is, yes, this is what I want to do. This is what I set out to do. I'm achieving what I set out to do. Yeah. But continually, though, that must be incredible. You've done that from the very first client. Yeah, it is incredible. It's sometimes I think, am I really doing this? Because, you know, Michelle, I don't know what it's like for you. I know that you're a creative as well, because your business, can I just advertise it? Number 49. Number 49 is my favorite. White patchouli. Yes, patchouli, but let's not go there. I don't want everybody to know I'm a hippie. No, I'm not. I'm not. There's a story behind patchouli. I'm not going to tell you right now. But, you know, going back to what you asked, it feels incredible, and I still can't believe that I make a living in a profession that I love and that that chose me as well. Yeah, it did. But also that I have set out to
change lives, to do something positive,
Mhm.
and I have done it. So I'm
Yeah.
incredulous sometimes, not because I doubt my abilities. I don't doubt my abilities, but I sometimes think, wow, I've achieved this, and I will
Yeah.
continue to achieve it. It's not an end. There's not an expiry date on that for me.
Mhm.
You know,
And it's like when you said when you were at work that time and you thought to yourself, what can I do
mhm.
to leave that legacy almost? And that's exactly what you're achieving and have been continuing to achieve.
Well, I do hope so, and I photograph women of all ages,
Mhm.
and I photograph children from the beginning, pretty much, of my career as a photographer. And
Yeah.
one of the things I always wanted to do was to make sure that every time I photographed a girl, that she has a positive experience in front of the camera, that
Yeah.
when she looks at her photos, she'll say, "Mummy, Mummy, don't I look lovely?" And Mummy will say, "Yes, you do."
Yeah.
And that is going to continue. That empowerment can be from a young age. It should be
Yeah.
for all of us. I know it
Mhm.
isn't. But from a young age, if a young girl and boy, it goes for both boys and girls, but if a young girl believes that she doesn't need filters on Instagram, she
Yeah.
doesn't need to be a size 0, she
Mhm.
doesn't need to be different, we will change over
Generations.
the way the
Definitely.
future generations feel empowered. That
Mhm.
word is used so much, empowerment, isn't? Do we really understand what that means?
Yeah.
Because for me, empowerment, what I want to give my clients, we had this chat before, and I said to you, I'm not here to change people. I'm not a psychologist.
Mhm.
I'm not here to change the women I photographed. I would not say that I'm helping them. What I'm saying is I am giving women the tools
Yeah.
to feel the empowerment. Empowerment has to start from within.
Absolutely.
No one can give you that. That is a
Mhm.
fallacy. No one
Yeah.
can make you empowered. What we can do is give you the tools
Yeah.
for you
To work on it yourself.
to believe that you can,
Yeah.
that you are enough, that you are just as good as anyone else. So
Absolutely.
this is how I feel every time a client says to me, "Andrea, thank you. You've changed my life." I think, right,
Oh.
I've done what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've given you the belief that
Yeah.
you are enough. So that's how I feel. I think I got there in the end.
Oh, bless you. That's wonderful. Can you talk us through what, say, if anyone was interested in working with you or booking a session with you, can you talk us through what kind of thing that they'd be expecting?
Okay, so the first thing, as I always say, you can't know what I do without seeing what I do. And
Okay.
the main thing women would need to do is go to my website and look.
Yeah.
So there are different photo shoots I offer.
Okay.
And really, it's a simple process. It's go there, find the photo shoot for you, be it the women experience photo shoots, the boudoir photo shoots, the 50 over 50 project.
Mhm.
Fill in the very short contact form and get in touch, and I will send people all the information, or
Yeah.
women, and there's of course business portraits. I photograph men as well, by the way. I don't want men to keep sending in complaints, it's all about the women. No, I photograph men as well. As my husband will tell you, he has had to pose for some shots, which actually he used for his own business portraits. So yeah, so it's a real simple process if people want to get in touch with me. Okay, so I will give you the website address if you want, or you can add it at the end.
Definitely, yeah, I'll pop it in the show notes. So as everyone can probably tell, you have such a wonderful positive energy about you, Andrea. You always seem so vibrant and, like I say, full of energy. However, that being said, do you have your own struggles? Is there anything that you've struggled with, personally?
Mm-hmm. Of course I have, Michelle. Come on.
Silly question, Michelle.
Crazy of me to sit here and say, no, everything is always being rosy. No, of course I have. And as I said to you earlier when we're having our brief chat about what we're going to talk about, I think it's important for me to tell people about this particular aspect of what I've struggled with, which has been anxiety. So you were surprised to find that I suffered with severe, crippling, sometimes in fact, anxiety, because I'm such a confident, outgoing person. People tend to think that you know, human beings like me don't suffer with anxiety because we're so outgoing, so positive. But as I explained, anxiety can be a very specific thing.
Yes.
So my anxiety for many years was to do with driving, with traveling. And that was particular because of an incident which happened when I was driving after a wedding. Okay. I had a panic attack behind the wheel. I ignored it. I had a second panic attack behind the wheel, and it just escalated to the point where I couldn't travel anywhere by any means of transport. I had booked a workshop, which I was looking forward to going to in Coventry. I don't live far from Coventry. And a week before, I started to do what people with anxiety do, thinking of how it would go wrong, how it would go wrong.
Worst case scenario.
Absolutely. Catastrophic scenarios. Anything, it sounds silly now. I think sounds silly now, but you know, anyone watching this with anxiety will understand. You think, would there be a terrorist attack on a train? Because I wasn't going to drive, you know, even though it's only 15 minutes from here. Will the train derail? Will I be assaulted? Will I be mugged? Anything. These are all the catastrophic scenarios that go through your mind when you have anxiety.
But you actually, I think it's so hard to explain to people that haven't experienced it, how so real these feelings are. I remember feeling, so I had postnatal depression after my second daughter. And I remember being convinced that if I walked out of the house with her in her pushchair and my eldest little girl next to her, then someone was going to stab us at the cash point. And it sounds ridiculous. And I just could not get it out of my head because I could see it happening in my mind, but it was because I was unwell. And it's those thoughts that completely take over your life at that time, don't they?
Absolutely. And you know, I've never been depressed. I've been anxious, but I've never been depressed. I know it's a very different set of, but I think sometimes they go hand in hand, and what you're describing is a typical catastrophic scenario which comes with anxiety. For me, it was always specific only to traveling, nothing else. I've never felt anxiety, social anxiety, none of those things, like even presenting or speaking on camera, none of those things that most people feel a little bit anxious or you know, worried about, never affected me. But traveling was a problem. When 2 days before the workshop that I wanted to go to, I said to my husband, I'm not going, I'm going to sell this ticket, I don't want to go. He turned around to me and he said the words which changed everything. He said, you need to look for help. This is completely out of hand. Now, sometimes you will need someone to point out the obvious to you, that you have reached rock bottom with your anxiety, that is taking over the aspects of your life which are going to paralyze everything.
But to you, you see, those thoughts that you're having are so normal and so real and so vivid. It takes somebody outside of the situation to kind of tell you that, you know, that this isn't good here. Absolutely. Something needs to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And when he said those words, it was like a bucket of ice water over my head, because I was absolutely convinced that that was fine, you know, that he would understand that I can't do it. I did do it, by the way. I did go.
Well done.
And you know, the funniest thing happened. He dropped me off at the train station. I went in, I sat at the platform, literally clutching my bag. And this woman that I've never met before in my life sat next to me, and for some bizarre reason she started talking to me and she would not shut up. It was like a taste of my own medicine. But what she did do was she followed me into the train. So she never stopped talking. I had no time or energy
Oh, so it's not even as if you told her that you were anxious about,
Oh,
oh,
no.
so she just talked to you
She
randomly.
just sat next to me and she started talking to me like she knew me, like she knew me all my life. I thought, this is weird. And she never stopped. She followed me into the train. She sat next to me in the train. By the time I got to Coventry, I knew her whole life story.
Oh, good Lord.
And she stayed on the train to go forward, to go to the next or wherever she was going.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I remember thinking, isn't that strange?
Yeah.
Now, if you're someone like me,
Mm-hmm.
who has faith and who believes in all sorts of things, you think that woman was sent to
Oh,
sit
totally.
next to me and
Yeah.
actually strike up a conversation. I can't even remember what it was. It might have been something to do with the weather, I don't know, the time of the train, I don't know. Because
That's a long weather chat.
I was so tense.
Yeah.
You know, I was so tense. I got to the workshop. I found it difficult because I kept thinking about the return journey.
Yes. Yeah.
But I was proud of myself because even though it was a little bit uncomfortable, I did do it. And I came back and I survived. Of course, I survived, you know.
Yeah.
But I did look for help. I contacted Mind. They were great. In those days before the pandemic, it wasn't as much of a waiting list as it is now. Because of course, anxiety must have skyrocketed. I know it has skyrocketed since the pandemic. And I was referred to a local charity who does talking therapy. But then I was also referred about 12 weeks later to an NHS a place in my town that does CBT.
Okay.
So I did get more help actually than I was expecting. And he has given me the tools I needed to manage that anxiety.
Okay.
So it has actually made a huge difference. I travel now. I go wherever I want to go. My car is off the road, and that is not by design, but because of the pandemic, I didn't need to use it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Put my car back on the road. But you know, so I feel very different now, and I'm glad that I got the help. And you know, so that has been possibly my biggest challenge to date, because anxiety goes against everything that I am as a human being. It goes against my nature. The fear goes against my nature. I've never been fearful in my life of anything, really. So there you go.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me, Andrea.
If it helps anybody.
So you've shone a spotlight on so many women during your career so far, and you've actually run like your own campaigns, like the 10 dresses in 10 days, 50 over 50. Can you just explain a bit more about what 50 over 50 is for anybody who is wondering?
So, Michelle, you're clearly far too young to be applying for the 50 over 50 project, she says. But you are.
I'm not that far off.
Yeah, I still photograph you because I photograph women of all ages. Listeners. But no, yes, of course. So I'm sitting here one day, watching a bit of telly, and it struck me for the very first time, watching adverts directed at women over 50.
Okay.
Incontinence pads.
Oh, I know. It's all about the tenor ladies at the minute, isn't it?
Incontinence pads. Funeral plans. Are you over 50? Well, you are about to die. Here's a funeral plan. Wrinkle creams. Oh, you are a lady of a certain age. You must need to, I mean, I'm over 50. Look, no wrinkles, but that's okay. That's a freak of nature thing rather than anything else. No, but you know, if even, you know, any wrinkles or lines, come on, I'm owning it, right?
Yeah.
They're mine. I earned it. I've earned those lines. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, it struck me how awful, right, it was that most of, not all, admittedly, but most of the adverts that were directed specifically at women over the age of 50 were so negative.
Yes,
I'm not saying those products don't have a place. They do have a place, right? But surely there is also a place to empower women over 50 and say, look, it's not over. much the opposite. So I set about doing a little bit of research online about magazine covers. How many magazines could I find that showed a woman over the age even of 40?
Okay.
Never mind 50.
Yeah.
The only magazines I found which had women on the cover over the age of 50 had celebrities on their cover.
Okay. And not like general models over 50.
Which is great. There are some amazing women there, way over 50 now, over 70 even, which are just amazing women. They are role models to so many.
Yeah.
Dame Judi Dench, to mention, one. And she's amazing. But what about those of us who are not celebrities? Where is our place?
Yeah.
Where are we being celebrated? There are, I think, I don't want to be unfair, as I said, there are a couple of magazines, maybe one or two I could find, who are specifically targeted at that age group. Yeah. Who, of course, have women over 50 on the cover. But, when you look at the plethora of magazines, the variety of fashion magazines, of whatever, gossip, whatever magazines you want, women over 50.
It's such a small proportion, isn't it?
And yet we are the biggest age demographic.
Ah, I didn't know that. Yes. So you've learned something else.
We are mothers, grandmothers, lovers, wives, girlfriends, businesswomen. We are intelligent. Yeah. We are empowered. We have the spending money. And why are we so badly represented? Yeah. So I thought, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to change the industry. No one can do that apart from the industry. It has to come from within. Yeah. But what I can do in my own small way is to say to women, listen, if you want to look at yourself more positively, turn your back on
celebrate yourself
and let's celebrate you. You are over 50. I want you in front of my camera. I want to photograph you. I want to empower you. If you need empowering, you might just want to do this for a laugh, for a good time. Yeah. Not all women over 50 are women who don't feel empowered. In fact, I dare say most women over 50 know who they are, know themselves. We have, left behind so many beliefs that we had when we were in our 20s and 30s. Yeah. We have said, no more, I'm over this. So why are we ignored? Yeah.
Because you've learned so much about yourself, haven't you, really, by that age anyway?
So my idea with the project is to, at the end of the project, to do a magazine with the photos, to tell those women's stories, not all of their lives, not a book, but, they will provide me with the text, and also to have an exhibition with the photos.
Wow.
And invite the women to come over with a +1 glass of bubbly, share stories and celebrate.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
So this is all part of the project.
Oh, brilliant. What's been your career highlight so far, Andrea? I'm sure you could pick so many.
I would not dare, Michelle, to name one highlight. There's been so many. I feel so lucky. I'm blessed. I feel so blessed. I think if I had to pick one thing, was that I'm grateful for the support I have from my husband. Yeah. My husband, when we moved away from Northamptonshire, ensured that we looked at houses that had enough room for me to have a studio, because it's something that I could have a studio in a high street, but it's not something I ever wanted. Yeah. I always wanted my studio to be a place of calm, a place where women felt safe and welcome. Yeah. I didn't want it to be a cold, big space.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And so when we came to look for a house, we came to this house. It's a townhouse, 3 stories high. The top room, where I am right now, my studio, is end to end. It's just one huge room. It's perfect. The lighting, the light coming in is perfect.
Yeah, I can see the Velux windows in the background. They let in so much light, don't they?
There's enough space for me, my backdrops, for my lights. And the only thing, if I could have anything else, would be a bit more head height, which sometimes, but I'm resourceful. I can work with that.
Yeah, just get the ladies to take the heels off.
Exactly. So no, it's not for the ladies. They're not that tall. It's for the lights.
Oh, okay. Oh, how many tall ladies do you get? That ceiling looks pretty massive.
They have to be over 8. They have to be over 8 foot tall. I don't think there are that many out there, but now for the lights, but it's fine. I'm resourceful and I can do it. So that has been the highlight, I suppose. It was to finally have a dedicated, proper, great space. Every morning, my commute is like 30 seconds. I come through that door.
You can't ever be late for work, can you really?
No, I come through that door and every morning, Michelle, I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I have this. So I think that if I had to pick a highlight, it would be this one.
Wow.
But as far as clients are concerned, every client's a highlight here.
Oh,
how cliche
you're so lovely.
How cliche is that? But it's true. I love my clients. I don't. There's not a client I ever met that I thought, I wish I hadn't.
And you can just tell that with you. I mean, you ooze that passion about your work. It's so clear to see how much you love doing what you do.
Can't ask for anything else.
Oh, bless you. What's coming next for you?
So actually, I want to finish the 50 over 50 project. So there are still spaces.
Okay.
Because I only started it late last year.
Yeah.
There's been quite a few sign-ups, some amazing women I've already photographed. There are some still to be photographed. Mm-hmm. You know who you are. You need to get your date in the diary. But no, so there's still a few women to photograph, but there are still spaces, and I want to continue to promote that side, the 50 over 50, because I'm so passionate about the message that it sends. Yeah. But maybe a 40 over 40. There's so many women have said to me, oh, I'm only 47 or 48. I can't apply. And I'm going, okay, well, don't worry, because you're going to have to put your money where your mouth is when I do the 40 over 40. But to be honest, though, Michelle, I never really think that far ahead. I take every day as it comes. So and
you're a real live in the moment kind of person, aren't you? You grasp life with both hands.
Yeah, and I think because things have been so fluid over the last couple of years with COVID, and that I learned that best laid plans sometimes, So I might get an idea which I will bring to fruition, and it starts all over again. There's always something. There's always. I don't have any. I don't want to be
concrete.
There's nothing in the pipeline that I say, oh my God, I've got this incredible thing. I mean, everything I do, I have such passion for. So I don't have favorites. So yeah.
Oh, bless. So where can people find you? Find your website? Obviously, I'll put it in the show notes, but if you'd like to tell them anyway.
So because andreadegabriel.co.uk is such a mouthful, I also have another URL that would direct to my site, which is warwickshirewomen.co.uk.
Oh, okay. See, I've learned something else. That's 3 new pieces of information I never knew. Right, I'll put that in the show notes.
I used to work in IT, Michelle. If you need any help, you can always come to me. But
see, I never knew that either. Number 4.
It's a perfect marriage. IT and photography will go hand in hand, especially because I do everything. I'm such a control freak. Honestly, I do everything myself. Everything. My website, I built it myself. Everything. I even in the early days learned to code HTML so I could build my own website. Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh. Got more patience than I have, that's for sure.
Challenges are fabulous. I couldn't do it now. I've forgotten everything now because it's very different now. But so I'm going to revamp my website. There are things I need to do. But if you want to go and have a look, see what I do, so you know what I do. That's another catchy phrase there.
Yeah. And also as well, if everyone has a look at your testimonials, because they're just incredible.
Yeah,
they really are.
Some video testimonials, which is something I'm doing with my clients, because people love talking about their experience, and it's useful for others who are worried about having the experience to hear from real women, real people, what it was like for them, and it's great. So yes, warwickshirewomen.co.uk. It will direct you to andreadegabriel.co.uk. But if you remember andreadegabriel.co.uk, fill your fingers and go for it.
Oh, that's great. Andrea, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you this evening. And I want to thank you very much for coming on, and make sure you all go onto her website and check it out. So thank you so much.
Michelle, thanks for putting up with me. I have talked at you non-stop, incessantly.
Oh, don't be daft. It's been brilliant.
You are a trooper, and what you're doing is amazing. And if anything I said today helps anybody, be it empowerment or anxiety, to deal with anxiety or to look for help, then I have done something good. That's all that matters. So thank you for inviting me.
Such a sweetheart.
It's been amazing to talk to you, and I hope to see you again very soon. Definitely, will do. Yes, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Thank you, my darling. All right then, Andrea, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.